Head straight into the third match between Team WE as well as Snake. The series is tied up 1-1. We're back into picks and bans. Team WE will be back onto the blue side of Summoner's Rift, whereas Snake will be taking to the red side of the map. Gangplank as well as Lissandra are going to be the first two bans to come out from Team WE as Shen hits the bench once again.
I feel like Shen has close to 100% ban rate for the last 3 days.
He's not allowed. Just not allowed to play the champion anymore.
It's just so funny because Hecarim's fallen so far out of favor, and Shen's big combination is with Hecarim.
It's also been a, so far, a Snake ban. They banned it in all 5 games against Vici, and again, they've banned it in all 2 games so far against Team WE, so neither Vici or Team WE have banned away the Shen.
Yeah.
It just seems like something that Snake don't want to play against going into their matches so far.
Preparing for IMA, obviously amazing J, big Shen player.
As Na's going to be second man that comes out for Snake. Lissandra the second one for Team WE.
Yeah, the Lissandra ban once again taking it from Tank. He had a good performance, win or lose, in his last series.
As Rek'Sai going to be banned out here by Team WE. Not sure if that's targeted towards SFM or Condi. As Karma's going to be the final ban that comes out for Snake.
But the big thing is that Nidalee is up and available. Obviously, Nidalee was a great pick into Rek'Sai because she's a farm-heavy jungler and she's able to match Rek'Sai's speed and outpace her through the jungle. But with Rek'Sai banned and with a priority pick for Taliyah, it goes back to this idea, you know, if Condi's not going to pick up the Nidalee, maybe he's looking for that Elise. Maybe he's looking for more of that dueling style jungler to try to beat her 1v1.
As the Taliyah is going to get locked in for Team WE as that first pick. Interested to see what Snake are going to use to respond. For now, though, they pick up Echo in the top lane and Tahm Kench as their supportive choice.
They didn't bench the Kench. I think they've made a mistake here. WE, it's a good performance from Jay-Z. It should be commended and it should be respected, but it wasn't.
Still waiting to see where the next 2 picks from Team WE are going to be. I mean, we already talked about how they have to change up their draft. They still have the chance to take away the Nidalee if they want to. Condi is known to play the champion. Last time round, they did go for the Elise when they were on the blue side of Summoner's Rift.
Could well be the Gragas if they want to deny that from SOFM as well. Yes, he has a Nidalee and Condi could take it as a denial tool, but there's 2 ways you can do it. You can match his farm, or you can invade him and gank him.
Taking their time here with their picks.
I feel like it should be jungle support.
Well, they hovered over the Bard pick last game, and I was excited to think that Zero's going to pick it up. Swapped over to the Alistar last time round, and this time does it again. Swaps over to something else, as it will be the Graves picked up as well as the Trundle.
I don't suspect this to be a Trundle top. It should be Zero picking up that champion. LPL really has never been a big proponent of Trundle in the top side of the map.
And that said, 9.7 is one of the players that flexes the Trundle more than others.
Yeah, 957 really just doesn't have a say in this team. I'm pretty sure that like Zero decides he doesn't want to play Trundle, and 957's like, all right, I'll do it every single time. And that's basically 957's position on this team and in this series against Snake, who are saying they want to kill him a lot.
I think the only other team that flexed the Trundle more than Team WE was Game Talents when they had Saboki playing in this support.
Be still my beating heart.
Yes, please.
Sign me up for the SOFM Lee Sin.
Oh, yes, please. I would love to see this. One of his signature picks back when he played in Vietnam. Had a great performance on the champion at IWCA as well.
As well as this split of the LPL.
Yes, it's been a pocket pick for some time. Crystal swaps over to Ash, but there's only a second remaining. We get the lock-in. SOFM will be picking up Lee Sin going into Game 3 against Team WE.
The confidence to have the Nidalee available after you had already performed amazing on the stage and then to go towards your comfort pick. Good call.
Pretty much.
I'm excited.
Team WE instantly lock in the Jhin for Mystic, so they know which AD carry they want to take to the Rift. 957 is going to be picking up Maokai again, heading into the top side of the map. And now waiting to see what Tank's champion of choice is going to be going up against Taliyah in the mid lane.
And that's really what the Trundle support showcases and reveals, is the fact that it is in tandem with Jhin. Now, Mystic is not known for his Jhin. That said, he's had plenty of time to grind this champion out and get better on it, but the last time we saw this performance, it was very questionable from Mystic.
Still waiting to see what the pick is going to be.
I guess the Echo could be flexed with the mid lane.
Yep. Would like to see that matchup actually into Taliyah. See how that one goes.
He's
just going to get shoved in.
You which is why I'd like to see how that matchup goes.
You really don't need to see it to know, unfortunately.
There's a reason why I was a big fan of Endless and Caveman. It is actually going to be the Poppy locked in here. So we will get an Echo heading into the mid lane for Tank. And Poppy will be heading up into the top lane for Flanger. Again, Snake, very, very interesting draft phase for them. It seems like every game they try something new.
And think of how many champions and how many different positions and configurations Snake have put together in this day alone. Never mind the fact that they're also the team that pulled out the Malzahar jungle, the Graves top. They just have so many answers.
Never mind that they're the team that you actually mentioned with a Venn diagram of murder, Frosco, with the Xerath in the mid lane, just cross-map play all around.
They're one of the few LPL teams that will play pick, that will play poke, that will play 5v5 engage, that will have these movement speed compositions. They're just... We say it all the time, they're innovative, they're creative, they're scrappy.
But one thing remains the same, is that they live or die by SOFM in his early game plays.
Pretty much. It feels like Snake are the mad scientist team of the LPL at the moment, with SOFM being their lead chemist. We're up against Team WE, the teamwork team who just fell apart last game.
The A team turned into the B team.
Pretty much.
It was pretty unfortunate.
And we mentioned time and time again, when Team WE step up, and when every single member of Team W steps up, they look unstoppable. But at the same time, when each and every single one of them gets shut down, there's no one can just really carry the weight of such an oppressive force that's coming out from the opposition. Someone like SOFM can do so well in the early game.
Yeah, this is actually a really big opportunity here for Snake to either close the door on WE or for Team WE to bounce back hard. They did just lose a game very convincingly, and Snake now on the rise once again in their second consecutive best of 5. The fairy tale's definitely alive for them. It all comes down to how the momentum builds in this third game.
And I have a lot of questions over Tank Echo in the mid lane. He picked it in knowingly to the Taliyah, so obviously he feels very confident in the matchup. See what he's going to do with it.
Let's see what they can do here. It's currently tied up 1-1 in the specified series between Team WE and Snake. Snake, they had the miracle reverse sweep against Vici in the last series. Now looking to see if they can continue the trend against Team WE as they tie up that series and go into game number 3 as we head on to Summoner's Rift.
I think the cheers have finally died out. I was waiting.
Lots of cheers actually coming out for Snake there, surprisingly.
You know, in Korea they're a bit more coordinated. They kind of do like a countdown and then they cheer for the team.
Well, they have someone who actually does it on the stage, I think, or like a person who leads it.
They have the fan clubs lead them. I'm not even joking.
There you go.
Already, though, ton of action coming out in level 1 as Team W actually went for a fairly aggressive invade, just showcasing the power of Taliyah. Now, it is expected that she will get the advantageous push. Very few champions, if any, can compete with Taliyah level 1. Xie, in particular, really likes to shove the immediate wave in and then contest the Raptor camp.
Yeah, Taliyah is like the meta Azir at the moment, where you level 1, clear the wave, and disappear and try and invade and find, in this case, SOFM in the jungle.
Which is why it's really important that WE set that ward onto the red buff, figuring out where he's starting so Taliyah can really throw a wrench in his plans.
SOFM looking to start on the red side of his jungle once again. There was a ward placed down onto the camp, so they will know if he does pick that one up first.
They will know, and because he's starting Krugs, he will get there at the same time as Taliyah being able to impede on his movements.
Whereas both AD carry support starts on their camp at level 1. Xie already doing what Taliyahs do, which is push out the wave as fast as they possibly can. Already taking down most of the ranged minions. Echo doing what he can to even up this wave. We'll need another time wider to clear that one out.
Oh, but there goes the ping already. So they're either tracking SOFM or they're going to contest this.
Xie's going in, looking to try and take down the Raptor camp.
Does not have Condi.
Looking to take down the mini Raptors, I should say. Gets 2 of them.
Yeah, acknowledges that he's not going to be able to find SOFM simply because Tank was rotating there. And Tank will lose a bit of CS, unfortunately, though, by having to rotate. So it's still a good move from WE's mid laner.
Still gets a bit of the Raptor can to get him level 2 quicker against Tank. Tank already using one of his corrupting potions to try and stay alive in this lane.
CA is so satisfying to watch play Taliyah. Right on the same par with Rookie for me and this mastery of this champion.
It's Mystic and Zero still pushing up against Crystal and Jay-Z here. Big crit comes down on towards the Tahm Kench, but the Eat stops the damage from going on towards the AD carry.
And as far as damage dealt, it's better that it goes onto the support than the AD carry in any 2v2 lane.
Got more pots.
Good sidestep coming out from Crystal there, moving forward to avoid the deadly flourish as Tank being very aggressive against Xie in the mid lane. trying to make sure that the mini-wave stays as far on his side of the map as possible so he doesn't get shoved in constantly. He's holding his own well to start things off. Let's see how long that stays for.
At a threat of being killed here, though, CA, if SOFM's ever nearby. Between an Echo and a Lee Sin, they have a lot of damage to a single target. And that's something that Snake actually have across the board here. When you look at their team composition, it's a bit of pick, but that's expected with the Ashe. It's more so single target focus.
It's Flanger on the top side of the map. He's been able to shove 957 in underneath his turret. 957's been having a tough series so far. Lisa's relaxing to watch him play the Meowkai.
And SOFM again is going towards the top side of the map. Now we expect that he's going to continue to try to counter jungle Condi. Condi's actually moving over here, so this could possibly be a 2v2 if SOFM doesn't get out underneath him from that Scuttle Crab. But
they're doing circles, ring around the rosy to find each other.
Make ships through the night, they pass.
SOFM will find him first if he goes through the vision that was placed by him.
Condi's like, I swear this was here.
There it is. Now the onus is on SOFM. What will he like to do, if anything?
And it's back.
Yeah, goes back to base. Does a little bit of meditation, relaxes, shrugs off the stress. Condi at least gets to take some of his jungle camp today.
I was so scared a level 4 gank was coming on Maokai. I know that sounds absurd because that would be a death sentence to gank a Maokai past level 3.
Pretty much.
But I was like, oh god, it's happening again.
I think we've seen stranger things happen in this series so far. Now in the bottom lane, it's going to be Mystic and Zero. They keep shoving out against Jay-Z and Crystal. Both laners very healthy. Crystal still has his health potion though. So Mystic has to be a little bit careful in this lane. Could get shoved out if he takes a bad trade.
Yeah, and again, that's the difference. Jay-Z would have used a couple of more potions than Zero. However, Mystic had to use his and Crystal did not. That's how the trades went down.
Not so far a very quiet game between the two teams. 5 minutes in, both teams just farming, no ganks coming out from the junglers yet. One invade coming out from SFM so far, one from CA as well very early on. But nothing much happening.
Kind of a different change of pace, and honestly very surprising since the pace of this series has been so full throttle.
Very bloody and very fast this series has been so far in both the games we've seen already. Top side of the map, we will see 957 use his teleport to return to lane. Flandre fairly healthy and does have a big wave moving towards 957's turret, excuse me. So we have to see if he does use the teleport to match it, or if he does walk back to lane. Those hiccups are bad. SFM steals away the Grump camp, jumps over towards a ward, and a teleport's coming in for Flandre. They're looking for Condi. SFM dukes it out with him. Flandre just opts to teleport into the lane instead.
Here comes Tank as well as CA.
Tank jumps on top of the Talia. Now 957 here as well by Flandre. So much damage being put down towards Condi, forced him to flash and quick draw away. Tank even keeping CA occupied, slows down 957. Flandre looking to join this fight too. That just gives SOM time to counter jungle even more. Pulls everyone in towards Condi's jungle.
Yeah, ultimately, hold on.
That's a big flash coming out from SFM, trying to dodge away from Sia. He's been locked in. The 1-2 combo comes out for SOFM, and it will be Tank that picks up first blood.
And the Bash brothers of Snake's top side of the map just roaming into Condi's jungle and taking what is theirs. They get a great response time because they burn the teleport on a ward to make sure that Flandre immediately gets involved in the fight. And ultimately, it's kind of a ring around the rosy, but that was what sealed the deal initially.
Yeah, the best friends club. SOFM's made himself a new mate. And it's Flandre. Makes a lot of sense when you look at these two as individual characters and how they play the game. Poppy Lee Sin, let alone SOFM Flandre, dangerous together.
Right, the fact that everyone's picked up Lee Sin hasn't hit me yet, but the power of those punches is starting to affect Team WE. As on the bottom side of the map, Crystal and Jay-Z doing a very good job of trading against Mystic and Zero. All the potions are down for both the AD carries and supports from either team.
Oh, round
Level
2.
6.
He's going up towards top side of the map. The kick is available. Jumps in with the safeguard. Knocks 957 to the side. Gets the Sonic Wave. Follows up with a resonating strike. And Flandre gets another kill onto 957. Weaver's Wallboard being used in the bottom lane. There is a Graves right behind this turret. Jay-Z is going to be able to eat up the carry. Condi throws down the smoke screen. Curtical comes out. But that's a flash going out from the Tom Kench. And Snake, they get back to safety.
Unbench the Kench, and that's why you need to respect that champion. WE threw everything they had bottom in that counterplay, and one champion diffuses all of it. They lose so much.
Yeah, that was their attempt at a trade, given what just happened in 957 on the opposite side of the map. But to no avail, unfortunately, as WE really are falling short in this game.
So we see now Condi looking to try and take blue buff away, but the Power Verge is coming out from Tank. Will get him on top of that buff, dealing a lot of damage over towards the Graves. Tank's been doing well in this mid lane. He's 10 CS up over to Talia.
And the thing with this Echo as well is he's probably going to go the Hextech Proto Belt build, which is actually quite good for Echo. Very efficient itemization once again for this champion. Consider the the Vladimir and champions like that that can go resistance, cooldown reduction stack.
It's also kind of the staggering in different backs and how they've been used. So when Talia was back in base, Tank got the initial rotation onto that blue side skirmish, picking up the kill for himself. And then when Talia goes for the roam, looks down towards the bottom side of the map, again, all of it's diffused because of the Tom Kent. So it's just really unfortunate timing that they've both tried to be successful, but it's just counted for Snake.
So for Team WE, all they get in the bottom lane is a little bit of chip damage onto the bottom lane out of turret, as well as Mystic picking up a nice 10 CS lead for himself in the bottom lane. But Crystal's going back to base and picked up a BS sword for himself, as well as that Cult. So going to be nice and healthy in the lane and trade very efficiently against the Jhin. Good job, Zero. As Crystal and Jay-Z now look to try and take down the Scuttle Crab as well, get some extra vision over the Infernal Dragon that spawned first in this game.
Good job, Jay-Z. He secures it. So again, you're waiting for that next big fight. It's a small advantage for Snake. Amounts to a surprisingly large amount of gold. But the Infernal Drake feels like it could be the big team fight that WE want.
Do agree, but a lot of pings are actually going top lane.
I was about to say, where's Condi? Because his jungle is just being ripped to shreds. As 957 does get dove. Condi is close by, looking to try and stop SOFM getting on top of this one, but 957 is going to get taken down. The arrow doesn't connect, but still Condi taking so much damage. Collateral damage forced to be used. Tank, incredibly go, does get taken down. SOFM in a bit of trouble. Forces the flash coming out from Sia there. They're still chasing him down. The rock throws going to be able to connect, and Sia picks up the double kill.
And finally, Sia is successful off of one of his roams. The overzealous dive attempt from Snake. You can only go top so many times before Team WE will learn that trick.
Yeah, and it's not just that. Condi was there waiting for quite a while, just sitting in the bush, so gets there at the perfect time because you got to choose when that time was.
However, even though Team WE get 3 kills and tie it back up 3-3, the gold is still in their Snake's favor as Vandre teleporting to the top side of the map.
Ooh, no flash.
Just looking to see if we can get the collapse on towards Condi. But yeah, even though Team WE get a good proactive play, the reactive play I should say, tie up the kills, it's still slightly in Snake's favor. Nothing too much of change yet. There's another pillar comes out from Zero in the bottom lane, allowing Mystic to get some good trades off. Deadly Flourish comes out too. Jay-Z will eat up the Ash and just get Crystal back to safety.
Look at Talia, here she comes.
Weaver's Wall is up and available for Sia. There is flashes available just for Crystal. There goes the Kernicle looking to cut them off. Crystal has to flash over it, does get over the top, but Jay-Z gets taken down. There's a teleport coming into the bottom lane. That's going to get fully channeled. Tank looking to go toe-to-toe against 3 of them, forced to flash out. And a very late teleport coming out from Snake's mid lane.
Interesting question mark from Tank to follow that one through, especially when he had Lee Sin and Poppy waiting for him in the mid lane.
Yeah, generally just a confusing play, of course. Well done from Zero to have the exhaust still available and find the kill in the first place. SOFM, that's pretty ridiculous.
The heat map is so dominant around the blue buff. You don't even see anything along the river. He just stays there for most of the time.
I like the fact that the only red point on that heat map is actually in Flandre's top brush. However, again, it does make Snake very telegraphed that Team WE can confidently say that they're probably on the top side of the map, so it opens up space for Condi here to actually solo 1v1 the Infernal Drake.
They've already been able to counter gank one of the top ganks on the top side of the map. Now they get the Infernal Dragon as well. Team WE looking to try and get themselves back into the game. 3 kills onto Sia at the moment, whereas the rest of the kills for Snake are split up amongst the top side of the map. Protobelt's going to be coming out shortly for Tank as well. That's a big spike for a mid lane Echo.
It has been proven that Xie can carry with the money that he gets. So it's not going to be a bad thing for WE that he has most of it.
We were just updated that the heat map was actually the ward graph of Lee Sin.
So using his wards wisely instead of not just staying, in the top side of the map, and that's why the heat map.
We'll go with both.
He wards it so he can keep taking those
walls away.
he's got
to be there when he places the ward, so I think you pretty much get the same thing from the image.
As the next dragon to spawn in this match going to be another Infernal Dragon. So we're going back to the Fiery Drakes. W picked up one already. Probably look to try and take the second. Sia gets blue buff for himself as Condi donates that over to his mid laner. That's what FM.
Hello?
Jumping aggressively over,
Hello?
kicks Sia back, going for the one-on-one, gets so much damage now. Condi now has the flash over, tank's gone in. But Condi takes down SOFM. Suddenly,
957's here as well.
it's so is Zero, they collapse.
What are you doing?
Well,
Oh, God.
they're just throwing people at them. Fladrate's now gone in, gets the kill, ejects 957 out of the way. Condi was being looked at by Flandre.
What a brutal team.
I just don't know. SOFM just decides that going is the only option, so he does.
He just goes, I'm fighting. And the team goes, okay.
Yeah, the thing is, he just got the blue buff. Like, it's pretty obvious that Condi's going to be somewhere in the area. I guess he assumed it was Gromp opposed to Scuttle, though.
There's like, it's one of those scenarios where you step technically out of position because you're not as safe as you could be. Like, the enemy team could theoretically kill you, but if they do, you're automatically going to die. So, like, why would you ever trade your life for mine? And SOFM, he'll take that almost every single time. It's just so bizarre to see that in competitive play.
He just wanted the sweet scoreline of 1-2-3 here for Oscar, and as he goes back to base, picks up the Warriors
That is
enchantment.
not a good scoreline.
Has his Warriors enchantment still sitting on that Tiamat.
If I'm Xie, I'm literally like, what is this guy thinking?
Yeah, and unfortunately, Flandre collapsed, so that it actually had a beneficial outcome in removing the blue buff.
That does mean it does mean that the gold lead has been tied up quite well.
He's at
here.
it again.
He's picked a new target.
He's mid lane now. He's looking for Sia, gets behind him. Tank trying to get the power convergence down as well. Reaper's wall gets kicked out of the way. SFM will be knocked back by the seismic shove. There's a Time Kench coming into the bottom lane. That's 4 members of Snake now on top of Sia. They take him down.
Yeah, CA is the new target for all of Snake, apparently. Ash still has the arrow available, and Mystic could be out of position if they don't rotate to help him out.
The only victor in that is 957. He's just sitting up there like, I'm free.
Yeah.
Whereas Snake look to try and push through the mid lane out of turret, get some decent damage onto it.
Condi also wins. He gets a lot of lane taps.
As we move back down towards the bottom side of the map, it's still Crystal and Jay-Z farming it out against Mystic and Zero. Nothing too much has taken place down here. There's still a slight CS lead for Mystic, so he's been doing well in terms of farming.
I've noticed a lot of the junglers in the LPL ping every single camp that they're at and where they're heading to next. So SOFM pings that he's at the Krugs and he's going to Gromp, or Crystal pings that he's going to Gromp. They communicate a lot through that.
A lot of mixed languages on multiple LPL teams. No surprises there.
Yep. You take a look at Snake, for example, you have a Korean, you've got Mandarin speakers, you have Vietnamese SOFM as well.
On Team WE, you have the all-Korean bot lane and Mystic and Zero.
We check in with that bottom lane. They're still pushing out. Mystic and Zero have been doing well so far in this series. They single-handedly won the bottom lane in game 1 at about a minute into the match.
Well, the bot lanes have been fairly quiet, save for the Tom Pinch. They are sitting on a kill and an assist respectively, but otherwise it's just been fairly calm, although, as I say that...
They're not going to try and catch out SOFM here. Condi's gone over the wall. Throws all his abilities at SOFM and takes him down.
Condi just looks like an entirely different person when he's playing Graves as well. He's matching the farm of his opponent, in fact besting it, is now 3-0-3, so has definitely shored up his own weaknesses from the Rek'Sai game at the very least.
And it goes back to this idea, we know that SOFM has a signature Lee Sin pickup, but when you're so successful on Nidalee to change it up, bit of a question mark.
Arrow going to connect there, not underneath the turret though. Zero tanks up 2 big shots, so Crystal and JC trying to defend this as much as they can. Stop the first structured goal going on over towards Team WE. Now down to about a third or a quarter of its health, but Crystal and JC still hang on and stop the push.
Yeah. Staying for an extra wave could actually be a bad thing for WE as SOFM's back and available. He may be hidden from vision, so the assumption from WE is better safe than sorry and back the heck away.
Well, Tank now has the Hextech Protobelt, picked up a Sheen as well. We'll have to see if that's a Lichbane or if a nice one Gauntlet or 24 even could come out from him.
But in general, the last kind of 5 to 7 minutes have definitely been back in Team WE's favor. Slowing down the pace of the game, getting back control of the jungle, catching out SOFM on a couple of very aggressive, overzealous commitments. So definitely much more the type of speed Team WE are successful with than we saw in game number 2.
There's Infernal Dragon number 2. It's going to be spawning in the next 5 seconds. Neither team making their way towards the pit, so you shouldn't see a fight over once it comes back up.
No, because that's not on the top side of the map, unfortunately. SOFM continuing that ward heat map. Wants the blue buff to be a big point of focus. However, WE are here.
As is Tom Kench, so they're pulling multiple members.
SSFM safeguards back to the pink ward, gets out of the way of the Q that came out from Condi.
In fact, the only person not here is Ashe on the bottom side, who can contribute with the global ultimate.
So Sia is able to pick up blue buff for himself. Condi is able to control that and give it over towards his mid laner. Crystal trying to do what he can to take as much damage onto this turret as possible, forcing people to react and move down to this bottom lane.
They still want to fight. They're not going to find it, but they still want to fight.
Not surprised.
Yeah. Again, working around tank, being on an assassin, has Proto Built and Sheen there, can kill someone. SOFM's able to kick them near him.
Jake likes to talk about this a lot. There's a lot of top lane echoes that run around the LPL. He's picked like 19 times since 6.15 alone, so a lot of top lane echo. People kind of grow complacent to mid-game echo damage, although, as I'm talking about that, bye tree.
That's a flash forward coming out from S-Man to follow 957. 2 flashes already being burnt there as he tries to keep himself alive. Weaver's wall knocks him out, separates him from the team as Tank throws out the time warrior, jumps over the wall, picks up the kill for himself. Sia tried his hardest to save his teammate, but he just couldn't.
In response, they do manage to pick up the Mountain Drake, but that was just unfortunate for 957. He just stopped moving. He's like, this is my life now.
Yeah, there was a really unfortunate moment in there where the Lee Sin actually stopped inside the brush, so that he couldn't twist it advance towards him. So very impressively done from SOFM to have that awareness as WE now threaten bottom lane.
Very intelligent and mechanically skilled player, Snake's jungler. Snake looking to try and collapse. That's a double teleport coming out. Zero has to be careful. He's taking a lot of damage. Flande charges on towards the Trundle, picks up that kill for his team. It's now 7-7 in kills between Team WE and Snake eSports.
Question will be what they do with this kill. It does mean that they have a wave pushing into the tower, so should be able to claim at least one objective. Let's see if they set themselves up for mid while Flandre is down here.
Snake on 3,000 gold ahead of Team WE. With this turret, should be 4,000 gold up. 2 turrets in the lead. Condi.
Flandre's wrapping back around. This is a 2v3, 3v3.
As JZ can be able to eat up the AD carry, get him back to safety. The Curtical comes out. They flash away from the collateral damage. JZ very low. Flandre blocking the final shot, but he curves the bullet around the support and picks up the kill.
Bend it like Beckham from Jin back there.
That's a big belly Tom Kench apparently. I have no idea how that connected.
Well, it does, and now they're looking to try and fight Tank in this mid lane. 0957 collapsing onto the mid laner of Snake eSports. As Flandre is waiting.
See, I don't think Flandre wants this. Unless he gets the stun and kills
He's going for it, knocks him into the wall, slams down the hammer, puts up the shield, and gets the solo kill onto the Graves. Tank, though, will pay for this with his lives, or will he?
He has his ultimate.
Throws out the time winder, will get knocked into the wall, but SOFM knocks the tree out of the park and goes into the Baron pit to take him down.
Very back and forth between both of these teams now, 9-9, but still a big gold lead to be seen by Snake in particular. Doing well in this third game, surprisingly. A couple of hiccups here and there, but the end result still favors them.
And the big difference between that gold deficit is the number of towers. So Snake's sitting on 3 versus Team WE's 1, which means that when Team WE are getting these picks, they are winning the team fights. It's not transitioning into structures. It has transitioned into the Dragons. They do have that double Infernal Drake to look forward to as those, 8% AP and AD will scale.
I have a feeling that they're doing Baron. They're doing Baron.
That's a good feeling, Rusty.
They're doing Baron.
They've started it.
Why are they doing Baron?
Your guess is as good as mine, but they stopped.
I said a feeling, I didn't say good feeling.
Well, they did stop doing Baron, Rusty.
He's just so...
It's testing the water. It's actually like, you know how like you dip your toe in to see if the water's cold? He actually just dunked his head to see if it was cold. Realized it was cold and backed away.
Well, he's in the river after all. That's where Baron likes to hide out.
He's like the epitome of Lee syndrome. That's SOFM on any champion. It doesn't even have to be Lee Sin. If the spirit connects, I'm going in.
Nidalee syndrome.
Nidalee syndrome SOFM might have, but they're still the ones that are in the lead of this game. You take a look at the top side of the map, something we haven't really talked about. 957, he got camped quite early on. Focus shifted away from him, but he's still 0-4-5. and he's about 40 CS behind Flandre.
Doesn't matter. He's a Maokai. I mean, obviously, you never want to be down that far in CS. You never want to be 0-4 at 5 in a game. But we saw it in Game 1 when Team WE did make the comeback. If he's on a champion like Maokai, like Gnar, it's just important that he does his job in the team fights. He has 2 resistance items, not complete, but he's got the MR as well as the Sunfire complete, so he's in a decent position.
It just means he'll never be ahead. Really, he's a tank that's behind, so he's just going to be a tank that's reasonably tanky. If he's got a team backing him, then he can still do his job. But by himself, he's just a sitting duck.
And it's really the difference between kind of those god tier tanks that are able to dive the back line and just absorb pressure from 4 different people for 10 seconds and allow his team to catch up, versus being on peeling duty, on primary target selection. So he just needs to be far more in tune with his team.
You're checking with the items picked up by these 2 teams. Condi is going for his Phantom Dancer and a Hex Drinker pickup. 957 still has those resistance items, looking for his Spirit Visage. This has been... Can't find the word for it. He's in the bottom lane split pushing right now, guys.
He's getting the resources that he needs. He's climbing back. He's actually facing across from Tank as his lane assignment because he doesn't have the completed Spirit Visage.
Flandre finds Zero, slams him into a wall. That's when he decides not to take the Sonic Wave into that. It's Flandre! He gets obliterated by Team WE for his troubles there.
They've caught them.
Weaver's Wall cuts them off. Jay-Z running the long way around, just trying to be the sacrificial lamb for his team. SOFM waiting patiently, kicks the first person that comes close to him back. They back the cat into the corner and he tries to fight his way out.
That's a lot of cooldowns burn. We'll see if they're confident enough to turn on the Baron. I doubt so, just because they're losing a lot of health. Likewise, Crystal is still sitting on that Ash Arrow, so Snake still do have a lot of power, as well as the teleport available in 19 seconds.
Yeah, they actually look towards the top lane outer turrets. The WE go to make a play. Condi is huge at the moment, 5-1 and 4, and I would not be surprised if he's done the most damage thus far in this game.
Sia is pretty big as well, 4-3 and 5, has the Abyssal Scepter picked up with that Morale-Nomicon. And with this push, they make the Goldie a little bit less at the moment. A Snake now only 2,000 gold up. They're throwing teleports into the mid lane. Double TP coming out. No, just one from Tank.
There's definitely another teleport coming in.
But there is going to be a time catcher. Tries to wrap around the back. Tank going in. Flandre soaking up the damage to start things off. Use the ultimate get out, but Flandre just gets melted again in this fight. Crystal now joining the team. 957 flashes away, lives to tell the tale. Condi going to the back lines, jumps on top of Crystal. Seismic shove knocks him back into the team. SOFM is the only person left, and that's a triple kill coming out for Sia. Looking for the Quadra. SOFM takes it now before he can get it, but the revenge comes out from Mystic as they ace Snake eSports.
The teleport's coming back in. I thought that SOFM might have done enough damage to stall out the Baron, but with 957 rejuvenated, it will be the purple monster.
It's the teamwork entirely. Condi's saying go forward. You can tell that he's telling you to go forward, and Zero exhausts Crystal at the right time to ensure that a low health Graves still does enough work to get them a team fight. That's incredible work from WE, and that's a big swing of power.
It certainly is. I mean, before this fight, Snake was 5,000 gold up.
But this isn't how this composition works from Snake. They're effectively just running into all of this big AoE spread of damage between the Talia, the Graves. Like, you need to make picks. You have the Lee Sin, you have the Ashe, you have the potential to do that, and there's never a scenario where Snake are starting these fights at a 4v5 disadvantage or chunking someone out because they get the Insect, because they get the Ashe Arrow.
And just like that, the Goldie that Snake worked so hard for, it's now completely gone. Team WE, even when they've been behind this entire game, they seem like the team that's been on the front foot and fighting back every single time.
The thing is like a theoretical kind of scenario. Flandre is tankier than 957. If 957's tanking the enemy team and Flandre's tanking the enemy team, then it should favor Snake, but 957 kills Flandre. That's the real difference there.
Well, that's 2 Infernal Dragons picked up by Team WE already. They get a Mountain Dragon to go with it. They already have that Baron buff, so starting to take down structure after structure. Turrets are now tied up 3-3, and Team WE have a nice 2,000 gold lead heading to 27 minutes in this match.
What are you looking for, Condi?
He's waiting for someone to approach the tower. Twisted advance. Surprise, Graves!
Team WE move towards the bottom side of the map, looking to siege the bottom lane in the turret. That's going to fall. Crystal's being caught out here by Zero, puts down the Subjugate.
Whoa,
SOFM and Crystal both get shoved backwards. Curtain Call comes out, slows down SOFM, takes a bit of damage, safeguards away from the final shot. As that's a Weave as well, trying to separate a team, even Pillar just keeping SOFM in one spot. Can't capitalize on that though.
Stuck between the wall and the pillar. That was a cute idea from Xier. So what he was trying to do with that wall was to separate Crystal from the rest of his team so that Mystic could hit the 4th bullet. But nothing actually comes from that, except that they are continuing this siege and trying to find their way in. Snake still have ultimates besides the Ashe. They can fight if they choose.
They're looking to try and defend this turret, but it does fall. Team WE use as much displacement as possible. It just seems like every single part of the lane's being augmented by one ability or another. The pillar comes out, Weaver's wall, uneven ground, everything just stopping Snake from freely moving during these team fights.
And at 28 minutes, it's not just the terrain augments, it's also these Infernal Drakes that are kicking in. Likewise, the 3rd chance of the triple Infernal will be open to them. So Team WE, they're definitely coming online, and no, it's not that 35-minute mark, but they're very strong.
And there's actually a really long time that it's going to take for Tank to be a big deal anymore. He does have the Proto Belt Lichbane build, so he's doing a decent amount of damage, but without the Zonias, it's really hard to connect your ultimate as an AP Echo and do damage with it. And that's one of the big damage sources that you have that people forget about because they're so used to you just being a tank.
So wait and see what Tank's going to be picking up next. Does have the Negatron Cloak as well.
It should be Zonia's, but because he's had to go Negatron with the Seeker's Arm Guard, he's item inefficient. So should be selling his Dark Seal. He doesn't have potions to augment with that, doesn't have stacks on it, and should actually finish the Zonia's.
Team WE though look to continue pushing on the top side of the map, shoving in a nice Baroned up wave onto the top lane inner turret. Only Tank up here to defend this. Weaver's wall comes out. SFM stuck on the wrong side of the map. Arrow not going to connect. Can't start a fight for Snake. They're losing a lot of damage to this turret. Tank even taking so much damage. CN pops him. Takes him down before he can even use his ultimate.
And that's the 2nd time that's happened for Tank. He's had quite an up and down series. And this mid lane echo is not working out for them as now SOFM is caught.
He's caught, getting singled out by the rest of Team WE. They take him down with ease. It's the 2nd pick that they've picked up in this fight. And Snake, they're off to such a great start, but everything's just collapsed around them.
Yeah, they kicked it off well, but I feel like their team composition is just so individually focused. It's starting to unwind for them. The Echo doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
And you have to think if maybe the fatigue of trying for 8 games is starting to wear them thin. They went back to Comfort Champions, SOFM taking his Lee Sin, and frankly, he kind of threw away the victory. They were so strong on the top side of the map, he tried to change that up, assist his mid lane, and just kind of ran head first about 3 times into a brick wall.
When taking a look at Team WE, they have been playing incredibly well in this match so far. I mean, shaky start to this game, but pulling it back nice and strong.
Yeah, it shows that they're learning over the course of the series, you know, setting up that brilliant trap on the top side, Condi waiting in Fog of War because they know that 957 was going to get camped. When SOFM tried to make the adaptation going to mid lane, again, they beat him to the punch.
And more so even just the adaptation of playing Graves.
Yep.
From Condi this time around, recognizing that it needs to have a champion that can still impact the map whilst also being able to farm, just in case the strategy from SOFM was to hard farm. Even on the Lee Sin.
And someone you can always rely on, or some people you can always rely on, so Team WE is going to be Mystic at 0. 2-0-9 for the Jin. Picked up 3 big items, has the last Whisper as well. 0 is 1-1-12, has the Mikhail's Crucible to make sure Mystic stays alive. They've been a very solid force in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and we expect Zero to perform on the Trundle. What we don't expect is actually Mystic to perform on the Jin. Again, last time we saw the Jin, very lackluster. This time around looks much more comfortable, was holding his own against Crystal and the Ashe. He's performed beautifully on that champion, so big props to Mystic to start expanding his champion pool when it matters most. That world ticket on the line.
We're approaching 35 minutes in the game as well, where Team W really start to shine. They have a goal lead to work with as they approach that stage in the game. A minute until the next Infernal Dragon spawns. Team WE already have 2 of them. Baron buff coming back up in a minute 15 as well. It's Mystic and Crystal both take away their red buffs on their side of the map.
I think it's safe to say, and we didn't actually even highlight this, it's a Jin composition that has 2 Infernal Drakes. That's a player and a champion that can get upwards of 700 AD that's now got 16% bonus that can become 24%. You give him an Elemental, an Elder Drake rather, and it gets out of control.
So there's a Weaver's Wall trying to cut off the rest of Snake. They all hop over it.
He's going to hit you
with
his 4th bullet, and you're just going to explode into shrapnel.
24% bonus AD, which
God.
goes up to like 32, I think, % with the Elder Drake. It could be 40. on a 700 AD champion.
Here comes the curtain call though, looking to try and start a fight against Team WE. Tank's going to get eaten up to try and stay alive. They eject Zero from the fight, but that's just the support. Tank forced to use Zonya. Is going to have to use the ultimate to try and get out of this one. Takes down 957, but Flandre is going to fall. So is Tank. That's a triple kill coming out for Condi to start off the fight.
And look at where SOFM is. He obviously had to get out of the fight because he was very low.
They're ending the game if he stays mid.
He's trying to pull the... Oh, no. He's trying to pull the creep wave, but he didn't account for the wave in the top. Miscommunication.
And it's a double super minion wave coming at us. That's a coordination from Zero as well. See it, a flash forward. They take down Crystal. They're on top of the next as well. Team WE fight hard in game number 3, and they're able to lock down Snake. They take them down. They're going to take it to game number 4, and they're at match point to head into tomorrow's game against IMA.
So Rusty was right. Sit back, reset. Didn't seem to affect their mentality at all. It was just another day in the office. They clocked in and clocked Snake out.
For what it's worth, when you lose that hard in a game, you don't really lose anything other than the point in the series. And I will admit WE bounced back pretty hard. It wasn't the smartest of starts for them, unfortunately. They had a couple of mistakes where Snake still looked good. SOFM on his signature champion still had an impact on the map, but everywhere else around him was just starting to crumble, and that's a real problem that Snake always seemed to have. SOFM has a hard time getting everybody ahead.
And again, we kind of take a look at how these 3 games have gone. Start of the match, Snake always incredibly far ahead, but it's Team W when they pull back hard. Take a look at a few of the highlights that started this game off.
But this is all going to start out as SOFM highlights on the top side of the map. So, and this is really the story of this game, or the roller coaster of it. Looks so good for Snake. It looks like it's going to be another repeat performance. And then the adjustment on this overzealous dive where CA, I believe, picks up a double kill. Just Condi waiting in the wings. Here comes the rotation from the mid laner, and they punish Snake very hard. Yeah,
Condi plays this incredibly well also, dodges all of the skills and does his part towards finding the victory. Shea getting 2 kills helped a lot in this middle lane. The control that he started to get for himself also was a big deal, as this was one of those moments where SOFM just thought he was more than he actually was.
Tank trying to go in here just gets collapsed upon by 957. Snake in general just looked overzealous once they had that lead.
I mean, you might as well at that point.
Yeah. In for a penny, in for a pound.
This is where Snake had a 5,000 gold lead. The kills were dead even. That's some small leads in terms of CS, but just didn't quite see where they were getting this massive lead from, because every single fight was going in Team WE's favor.
Yeah, they had themselves a lead, but they were starting to get what felt like outscaled. They were running an Echo mid that Tank had no impact on, let's be perfectly honest. And the rest of the team, Lee Sin solo target. Ash wants to hit the arrow on a single target. Poppy hits a single target as well. It feels very limiting for Snake when they start to fall behind, or they don't scale hard enough early enough.
And they didn't utilize the composition as fully. When this team fight happened, again, you have so many pick opportunities with the Lee Sin, with the Ashe, and there was never an opportunity where Snake looked to use that. They just pretty much ran head first into all of Team WE's AoE damage.
This was that final team fight coming out from Team WE. Already incredibly far ahead. Do have the double super minions pushing on the top side of the map. And off the back of that, they end the game and pick up their Game 3 victory. You can see the damage dealt in that fight. Mystic topping the charts from the Jhin. Condi is the 2nd most damage dealt in this team.
As expected, we said Condi would be pretty high up on the damage charts by the end of that game, and does a lot of work, of course. Mystic, double Infernal Drake Jhin. Pretty easy to do damage with. And that last fight that we even saw was just Snake getting outscaled. SOFM tried his absolute hardest and it wasn't enough.
It's going to be Sia that picks up the MVP for that match. It was really a highlight reel of Sia, as well as the help from Condi that puts Team WE into that game.
Again, it's another scenario where it's Team WE, you have no idea who's going to get the MVP. I would have personally given it to Condi, but I could completely see the rationale behind Sia.
Yeah, it's deserving, but as much as it's deserving for everyone else, to be honest.
It certainly was, but Team WE do get a nice victory against Snake eSports. It's now 2-1 in favor of Team WE. We're going to a very quick break. We'll be back in just a bit to see if Team WE can keep their dreams alive.